Greetings, everyone, and good morning. It's Richard Solomon. How are you? Attention, rock fans. I've got something super special for you. We're going to take a little trip in the Wayback Machine, and we're going to hit the 1950s. And considering that I grew up on the music of the 1950s, and my wife is a big fan of the 1950s music, we have here Yo Vinny,
hey,
from the Bronx Wanderers. I'm holding their CD. Now, first of all, I believe it's thebronxwanderers.com?
Yes.
All right, cool, because you need to check out, I mean, it's like I'm actually like in the presence of cool things here. First of all, when music has changed too much, and sometimes not for the better. And when you go to iTunes and things like that, which is cool, and I use that for the radio show too. By the way, you're listening to Taking Care of Business, 88.1 FM, WCWP. You may be listening to us at a number of other venues, including iTunes and other digital formats, including but not limited to tcbradio.com, tcbradio.mypodcast.com, and possibly in the future, tcbradio.podbean.com. But we're all out there. And what's great about this CD is it's called The Bronx Wanderers Family Affair. And you guys look very tough.
Oh, my God, really?
You guys look very tough.
That's on a back street in Hoboken, New Jersey, where we said, where are we going to find a street that looks like the Bronx, because we're all from the Bronx, that looks old. And Danny Aiello did a video with us, and he said, I'm not leaving the restaurant that I hang out in. And he was at this restaurant in Hoboken, and it was an alleyway. And it just, it happened. It was a really funny thing.
Well, to quote Bugs Bunny, Hoboken, ooh, I'm dying. So great. For those old enough to remember that was funny. Okay, so I'm holding this CD, and we're going to play some tracks out of the CD because it would be a crime not to. But what's great about this is it actually looks like a vinyl CD from days of yore.
It is vinyl. It is made of vinyl. We worked out a deal with the plant that I wanted it to look just like a 45 record. It is a CD, but it is vinyl. It's a vinyl CD.
So this belongs like in Time Life, with Time Life music of the 50s. All right, so we're sort of in on the secret here, and everybody's like wondering what is he talking about today? They never know. By the way, they means you. They never know what we're going to talk about because we've had everybody as serious as Tim Russert and Ed Koch on one side, and Cousin Brucey. We've covered the Long Island Music Hall of Fame Awards and on music.
Right.
And it's like, so wait, what do we? So tell me about you, your band, and your incredible sound. I have to say this. I was listening to the CD all week in pre-production, and they have the greatest harmonies, the cleanest sound. Their vocalization, their arrangements are just so solid. So.
It makes it really easy when it's a family thing because everybody has the same genes, so you get that blend automatically. And the Bronx Wanderers thing was an accident. It was
so was penicillin.
Yeah.
So and that worked out okay.
And this is too.
Yes. So tell me about this happy accident.
I was a record executive in the music business for some 30 years, and it was just one of those things where everybody came in like 10 years ago and said we're retiring, and it was like, now what? And I had no clue what I was going to do. And Chaz Palminteri, who comes from the same neighborhood that I come from, was just a really nice guy. Called me up and said, why don't you come sing background for me? I'm going to put together a nightclub act. And I brought my young son, he was 11 at the time. He looked like the kid from A Bronx Tale. So when Chaz saw him, he said, oh, this is great. He looks like the kid from the movie. And, what I could do is basically do like a scene from the movie with him. We'll put the kid on a stoop, and we'll really make this fun. And it went over so well that I kind of came away going, wow, this could work. And the next thing you know, I had no idea he could play drums. He was a really good drummer. And we used him because Dion's drummer at the time, we were working with Dion's band, had a kidney stone attack. So now we had a job. It was one of those things we were playing in an hour. And it's like, now what? We have no drummer. So the kid just happened to be there. And I said, Nick, just hold two sticks and just make like you're moving your hand. Don't worry, we'll get through it. And it went over so well that I thought, wow, this could really work. And my older son, who was 3 years older than him, was 14 at the time. And we brought him on stage, and it went over so, like this big gimmick thing with the father with the kids, that it was just an accident. And the next thing you know, we just started playing around, and I got one of the original Earls from the neighborhood with Larry Chance and the Earls. His name was Jimmy Fracassi. Jimmy joined the band, and it was just this happy accident that just happened, and it's just been phenomenal.
It kind of reminds me almost of the Brady Bunch in the episode where Greg fit like the rock and roll guys because he was the right, because he would fit in the suit.
That's right. That was exactly it.
Now, for those people out there who are listening, you may also, if you love rock and roll and you love the history of rock and roll, amongst other things in our website archives, like, for example, Cousin Brucey, is a great 2-hour segment that we did on My Father's Place in Long Island.
Oh, that's great.
So it's, if you want to take a look, the website for those interviews is not up yet, but if you go to myfathersplace.com, under the tab Press, you'll see our interview with Steve Rosenfield, who was the house photographer and was the co-author of the book with Mike Eppie Epstein. And I have already secured Eppie as a future guest. So there you go. So great. It's all right, cool. So I want to play some tunes.
Sure.
So let's see what we got. We're going to just do this little potpourri. But tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing with the band as I cue all this stuff up.
I mean, essentially, I was very, very friendly with an oldies promoter out of Westchester County, and he said to me, I tell you what, I would love to have you and the kids come on our shows. And I'm from Arthur Avenue originally, and that neighborhood is where Dion is from. So Dion was like our patron saint of our neighborhood, and if you didn't, do Dion, you didn't do anything. So Dion was my guy, and we would always do Dion. And it was Dion, as a matter of fact, that got me my job with Lifesong Records. I was going to NYU in the late 70s, and Dion said, I called him up, I said, I want a job in the record business. He said, go see these two guys. And I came in off the street, and I go, hi, Dion sent me. And they were like, yeah, right, get out of here. And they literally called him on the phone.
Mick Jagger sent me. The old Mick Jagger sent me. And Keith says hello.
It was so good. So he wound up. They called him on the phone. And he goes, yeah, I sent them. And they gave me a job. And that's how it all started. So when we started the band, it was like, well, we got to do a Dion thing. And it happened. And the oldie circuit just seemed right for us to jump into, because I had these two young kids and nobody was really doing that. And we became this gimmick father and sons thing on the oldie circuit, and it worked. And the kids were raised on this music, so it just happened.
Well, this is music that I think everyone will know and certainly now love. So.
Time
Okay, you can't tell me that was just a guy with sticks pretending. All right? I mean, come on. All right.
That was a total accident. The whole Frankie Valli thing with us was a total accident. I mean, you know, the more we talk about it, this whole band's a whole accident, everything. Dion calls me up and he said, Ringer, listen to me. He goes, I'm afraid you guys sound too much like me that people are going to think it's me. And I said, Dion, nobody's going to think we're you. You know, we're a tribute band. We're supposed to sound like you. So just as a joke, I had just left a studio with the Jersey Boys. They were in production at the time. The play wasn't out yet. So as a joke, I said, you know what, let's put together a Four Seasons medley and just send it to Dion. And we did. So I sent him this little medley thing that we did. And some agent got a hold of it and starts mailing it out. And we would show up on jobs and they'd go, okay, for the first hour of the Four Seasons show. I go, what Four Seasons show? They go, well, you guys are Four Seasons. I go, what do you mean Four Seasons? We do 6 minutes. That's it. They go, 6 minutes? We need 60 minutes. I go, I don't have 60 minutes of Frankie Valli. And it just kind of all was like this major accident. So right away now I ran back in the studio. We put together another medley really quick. And now it gets out to Frankie Valli's agent where he hears this. And I had known him over the years.
And did he say, hey, it sounds like Dion? Hey, it sounds just like Dion.
He was so good about it that, you know, he laughed about it. He goes, yeah, that's good. He goes, you know, just make sure I get paid for the publishing royalties. I said, yeah, no problem. So he gets a phone call. And this is like one of our best stories. He gets a phone call from some sheik that they want him to play in Abu Dhabi. And they offer him $250,000 to come play for an hour. And he said, listen, I really can't do it. You know, I'll put my management people in touch with you. And they start to handle the negotiations. And they said to him, you know, it's Frankie's schedule. He's booked 2 weeks from now. So, you know, there's no way he can. It was like a month away. He can't do it. If you move the date. So they said, look, we'll give him $500,000 for the hour. So the agent winds up calling up and he said, listen, let me ask you a question. He goes, you know, what is this all about? He goes, well, look, one of the sheiks happened to be in New York, and he saw the Jersey Boys, and he wants, you know, the Jersey Boys. So the guy that was actually booking the job had no clue who Frankie Valli was and what the Jersey Boys even meant. He goes, so what is this Jersey Boys? What is that?
I'm the Jersey Boys.
They go, it's a play. And he goes, it's a play about what? And he goes, Frankie Valli. He goes, well, get me this guy, Frankie Valli. So when Frankie Valli's people are telling him, we can't do it, there's no way this is going to happen, they turned around and the guy says to him, let me ask you a question. He goes, do you know what he looks like? He goes, no. He goes, do you know what he sounds like? He goes, no. He goes, I happen to know this band that you could probably get them for like 1/10 of the price. He goes, for nothing practically. He goes, why don't you give them a shot? Call them up, because Frankie would love to do your date, but he happens to be booked that weekend. So we get a phone call, and they said, would you guys like to fill in for Frankie Valli? And we said, wow, yeah, we're going to Vegas. This is great. This is great. We got back to New York, and they said, do you have your passports? And I go, what, Vegas needs passports now? They go, no, you're not going to Vegas. You're going to Abu Dhabi. I said, Abu Dhabi, what is that? And they said, you know Dubai? And we said, yeah, right next door. And there we were. They flew us over. They met us at the airport, and it was the Abu Dhabi Road Race Challenge, where racing teams from around the world get together in the desert.
Get a little closer.
And they get together in the desert, and they do this giant, you know, where they build a city for a day. And at the end of the night, Michael Jackson was giving out the prizes. And we were the band. We came out and did like about 45 minutes, and that was it. And it was like, wow. And it was great. You know, it was just a great adventure.
Wow, you were rocking with Rich Solomon this morning with the Bronx Wanderers, and we're here with Yo Vinny.
Yo.
And, of course, is Vinny the Kid really Vinny the Kid?
Vinny the Kid is really Vinny the Kid. Yo Vinny is because my last name is Adonalfi, which is really long. So the first oldie show we did, they introduced me as James Gandolfini from The Sopranos. They said Vinny Andolfini, and I said no, that's not it. So the next show it was like, well, why don't you use my middle name, which is just John? So it was going to be Vinny John, and then the next show they introduced me as Vinny Johnson. And Dion turned around and said, hey, man, why don't we just call you Yo Vinny? And it was like, okay, great. And that's how it happened.
Let me play some Four Seasons here. Speaking of Four Seasons medleys.
it up. I wish you never said break it up. No, we'll both regret it. That little chick with diamond on your hand ain't a fortune, baby, but you know it stands for your love. I love to try and buy such a love. We just can't leave behind us, baby. Don't you go, baby. No. Think it over and stay. Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let it go, girl. We got a lot of love between us. Hang on to what we've got. There isn't anything I wouldn't do. I'd pay any price to get in good with you. Hatch it up. Give me a second turn. Hatch it up. Don't cool off while I'm burning. You got me crying, dying out your door. Don't shut me out. Let me in once more. Your arms, I need to hold you. Your heart, oh girl, I told you, baby. Don't you know, baby? No. Take it over and stay. Let's hang on to what we got. Don't let it go, girl. We got a lot of love between us. Hang on to what we've got. Bye-bye, baby, goodbye, baby. Bye-bye, baby, don't make me cry, baby. You're the one girl in town I'd marry. Girl, I'd marry you now if I were free. I wish it could be. I could love you, but why begin it? 'Cause there ain't any future in it. She's got me and I'm not free, so
So I got to talk because I can just play it now. Now there's so much sound in there.
Right.
You can't just tell me that there's just four guys.
Oh my God!
There's so much sound. There's horns. There's this
track. I mean, when we go out live, we go out as a 5-piece, 14-piece band. we basically, I put this band together as a producer first, where I said, the way I want to do it is when people go to shows, they want to hear the record. If it's not the record, they get miserable. So let's keep it as close to the record as possible. And we devised the thing to go out with a track situation. Dion calls them enhancements, but basically we'll put a lot of horn parts down. We'll put extra harmonies down, so that instead of it being just 5 voices on stage, it's like 9 voices on stage. And it is all us, but it's just we're singing along with ourselves, and it just makes the sound huge. And it's people at the end of the night, the 5 musicians will tell me they hate it because it's not real, and the 1,000 fans will go, "Wow, you guys are great," and it works.
Well, I'm part of the 1,000 fans that say you're great because I'm listening to this in the car and I'm like, wait, there's 4 guys, and there's a lot of music in here, and I don't know how they did it.
I have this brilliant young kid who's like 26 years old. His name is Adam Reich. And he's from Brooklyn, New York. And Adam knows like every song ever recorded, plays every instrument there is. And he sits down, he works out these arrangements with me, and he's wonderful. And that's how we do these things. I mean, it's Adam, it's the band. We get horn guys to come in, so it runs great.
Well, I have like 1,000 questions, so I'll have to just give it. Now, I'm looking at East 187th Street and Belmont Avenue.
Yes.
So that's got to be where you guys are from.
Yeah. We'll be there on July 17th. We go back a few times a year, and we do like the feasts on the avenue. And so the
studio welcomes Joanne, who made it all possible. So welcome.
Yes,
have a seat. There you go. There you go. See, this is the great thing about radio. So there we go. Have a seat. See, here we go. So it's like we're live on the air. So here you go. Just have a seat, and it's cool. We're very informal here, And by the way, security, how did you let this happen? Security. There you go. You know, they're so we're talking about all the great music. Now, one of the I don't know about song parodies, but one of the I know you have the song "I'm a Believer."
Yes.
Now, the real words, I don't know if you know. I know that Neil Diamond wrote it, but the real words were, "I saw my grades and now I'm in Cleveland," and they changed it. Because somebody said in the studio that's not going to work. So okay, so tell me about the Bronx, because I happen to go to the Bronx a lot for traffic violations bureau cases, and there's traffic violations bureaus on East Fordham Road, which is right. And then what I do is after I do a traffic violations bureau hearing on behalf of a client, I make the little right turn, go past the Rose Hill campus, make the left to Arthur Avenue.
Right.
There's a great luncheonette there, and they have like the best eggs and coffee there. So I actually don't mind going to the Bronx for cases.
No, food is great. I mean, it's just, if you're going to be on a diet, it's definitely, you don't want to go there to Arthur Avenue.
I was at where I was last night. I was at Patsy's Pizza in the city last night.
Oh, that's great. That's
just a little plug for them. They don't know I'm doing this, but yeah, it was great pizza. All right, so back to the music. So you go to the Bronx every once in a while to...
Yeah, we always go back home. I mean, my parents still live in Throgs Neck, and it's one of those...
I'm on the other side of the bridge. There you go. There you go.
So we always go back to Arthur Avenue a couple of times a year. We'll be there July 17th.
That's 2011, because this is going to be repeated year after year, for sure.
Yeah, and we always celebrate the neighborhood, and you don't forget your roots. And it's one of those really cool things where Chaz Palminteri comes down, he's from that neighborhood. Danny Aiello comes down, he's from that neighborhood. Joe Pesci started as a waiter in Amici's, which is where Martin Scorsese saw him. He comes down, Dominic Chianese. And it just is this whole, everybody always comes back and celebrates this is where they're from.
I don't know. My parents are from the Bronx, and they're not famous. Did they miss out on something? Because, I know the remedy. Yes. You need a live remote, so when you do there, so we'll do a live remote radio show. There you go. Call it Celebrating the Bronx.
That would be great.
All right. So how did you guys become the Bronx Wanderers?
So Chaz calls me up and he says to me, I really think what you need to do is get the two kids and start a band and call it the Wanderers. And I said to him, Chaz, you don't want to do that. I'm telling you, we're going to get sued the next day. There's going to be 100 bands there.
And this is before you knew Rich Solomon.
Yeah, right.
It could have helped you.
He goes, just do it. Do what I'm telling you. So we go out on our first job as the Wanderers. I got letters the next day from the movie company, from about 40 people that are suing me the next day. So I called them up. I said, I told you this was going to happen. So I said, look, we're all from the Bronx. I'm going to call us the Bronx Wanderers, which really scared the heck out of me because I thought now it sounds too much like a motorcycle gang. So we called it the Bronx Wanderers. It's probably the greatest thing I ever did because no matter where we go in the country, people line up afterwards, not to tell me we were good or they enjoyed the show.
They were from the Bronx.
They want to know where you were from. Well, because I grew up, and my cousin's from the Bronx. I went to a Yankee game, and it works. And it's great.
Like you have like those shirts that say, I'm from the Bronx, where only the tough survive. My parents grew up in the Grand Concourse area.
Yeah, sure.
Shadow
of the stadium. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, of course, I know this is off music topic, but on East 161st Street is the Bronx Supreme Court.
That's the courthouse.
And, there's plenty of times we have to go there.
Oh, that's great.
So we have a couple minutes before we take there. First, hard break, but who did you love growing up listening to?
Oh, Dion. Without a doubt. Dion's my guy. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be a musician.
Wow,
he was my guy. I mean, and he was one of those guys where I remember reading an interview that he did saying that, Elvis's biggest problem was he should have reached out and touched the people, where he just stayed behind the gates of Graceland and he was just too big. Whereas Dion is the type of guy that he'll still walk through the neighborhood and he'll stop and talk to you, and he's a real guy. So as a kid growing up, talking to him and being able to go, hey, I'm in a band, what do you think? And he was just always inspirational and just a really great guy.
Did Dion write a book?
Yeah, he's got a new book out now.
Okay, because I think I saw him personally deliver a talk at like a Borders or a Barnes & Noble or something not that long ago.
Yeah, he's got a book out called The Wanderer Talks Truth. And it's just kind of setting the record straight on like what actually one of the things that amazes me is that whole day, the day the music died, is they never really talk about the fact that he was there and he didn't get on the plane.
Oh, we got to talk about that. Wait, whoa, okay, wait.
That's cool.
This is a news flash. Okay, so wait. We have like a minute, but start this up. So he was supposed to be on the plane with Buddy Holly?
Yeah, he basically, the tour was Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and Dion and the Belmonts. So when they all went backstage and they flipped the coin, which is like a classic thing, Dion won, and he's got the seat. Richie Valens did not win the coin toss. Dion did. And when they told him that the plane ride was going to cost $36, it kind of stuck with him that was a month's rent for his parents in the Bronx. And he said, you know what, just to jump a little plane for 30, 40 minutes, I really don't want to spend the $36. He said to Richie, you go. And Richie Valens wound up taking his place, and, the rest is kind of history.
So it shows that economics can be determinative. All right, we will be back in a moment. This is Richard Solomon. We're going to play a little music to fade out. Let's see. Here we go. And there we go. You are listening to WCWP 88.1 FM. We'll be right back. Do not move that dial. There's too much cool rock and roll ahead of us. We'll see you in a minute. Oh, wow, that's Wolfman Jack. I haven't heard Wolfman Jack in a long time. You're rocking with Rich Solomon. Good morning, everybody. This is why I do radio. This is why I do radio. Want to know why I do radio? Because I get to meet people like Vinny through people like Joanne, and I get to have the best time hanging out and talking about some of the coolest fun stuff. I know we cover all kinds of topics in the show, but no topic is much more cooler to me than rock and roll.
It's so fun. I mean, the stories are great. I mean, that's a really... Clay Cole is in that piece. Now, if you're a New York kid, from the 60s, you know Clay Cole and all those great shows that he had. And Clay Cole was the guy that brought the Rolling Stones their first American television debut. And he brought them here, and he had on one show, he had the Beatles and the Stones, and due to budget cuts that they always watched the tape, they only had so many tapes at PIX, they erased over it. And so there's no copy of that anywhere that they were both on the show. And he got behind us in the beginning, and the sad thing is he just passed away. And he was just such a wonderful guy. And he said, if there's any way I could help you, let me help you. He mentions us in his book. And he really kind of thought that everybody in the music business forgot him. And he wrote a book called Shaboom, The Explosion of Rock and Roll. Comes out with the book, and he just started to get on every show, and he realized that everybody remembered who he was and what a contribution he made to rock and roll. And he had a heart attack and passed away.
When you were listening to radio, when you were growing up, what radio stations were you listening to?
WABC, MC, the Good Guys, MCA, and then you switched over to FM. But, I was a product of AM radio. I mean, I love hit radio.
I remember, listening to, Ron Lundy.
Oh, isn't he the best? Harry Harrison. All those guys. Yeah. I mean, their voices were just so distinct, and I love that. When I was a kid, I had a little AM radio, and my parents would be like, "All right, you gotta go to bed now," and I'd be like, "No." Underneath the sheets.
So what I did was I had this tiny little transistor. Again, this is all before digital. I had a tiny transistor radio, and what I did is I put it under my pillow.
Yeah.
And I'd listen to it and pretend to sleep, whatever. And then eventually I'd fall asleep, and I wake up and the radio would still be on under the pillow.
I always did that.
But there was Ron Lundy, Harry Harrison. I remember listening to Allison Steele and Scott Muni and Dennis Elsis and
all those guys.
Yeah, I mean it was really, see, in those days the DJ personality meant something to radio.
Right.
I don't know if that's still really true today anymore. I think a lot of it's sort of not here at WCWP, but there's a lot of corporate programming. Everything's formulaic and things like that. I would never be able to have a show like this on traditional radio where I'm just blabbing for an hour, telling jokes and hanging out. It's like, no. Corporate wants this, corporate wants that. Right. Run, as many commercials as you can, things like that. But and there's a time and place. But I sort of have a lot of nostalgia for certain things of the past that are gone. Like, I love driving movies. Yeah. And I go to driveamovie.com, and I'm going to go this weekend, which will be, right now we're recording it before it actually is airing, but this is, in all honesty, the week before Memorial Day, even though you're going to be hearing this afterwards. I'll be long gone. And and I'm going to go up to Hyde Park, and I'm going to go to one of the two drive-in movies up there, which is either the Hyde Park Drive-In or the Overlook Drive-In. Right. And I love to do that, and my wife is a big fan of 50s music, so we're going to play this CD, of course.
That's great.
And then we have the Time Life 50s collection, right? Because they really don't play on at least the local radio oldies like WCBS 101 did before they became Jack FM. Then when they came out of Jack FM and they became sort of something else. Yes. The dial has really changed a lot. Yeah. I remember when there was like WAPP and they had the commercial-free summer like way back when and all this other stuff. But so when you were younger, like do you remember like your first concerts who you went to?
Oh God, yeah. Again, I was just one of those. I think I was about 10 years old, and Dion invited me to a show, so I went out to see that, and then I just got into the whole concert going thing. And I was just lucky enough that, one that I vividly remember coming out here in Long Island, it was like 1974, I think I was like 15 years old, and they had this giant concert with the Beach Boys and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and Jesse Colin Young, and it was almost like a Woodstock at Roosevelt, and and I was terrified because here we were like 80,000 people on this field. And somehow I managed to get near the front, which you think is a really cool thing until you realize you can't leave. And you're in. They were dropping water.
And don't start drinking coffee.
People were getting up around me just, going like taking it out and going. And I'm like, hey, what's the... And I was just panicked out. But nobody could leave. And everybody's like, hey, kid, get used to it. This is, I've been to a concert.
This is festival seating.
It's like.
I remember, I think the first real concert that I saw was at the Nassau Coliseum. I was in high school, and I saw the Jefferson Starship.
Oh, great.
Opened by the Bob Weir Band. And I was like, wow. And I think about that today, and I'm like, it was all because some kid in school is like, hey, you want to go see the Starship? I'm like, oh yeah. And then I had no idea I was going to see like the Bob Weir Band, and many years later became a big fan of the Grateful Dead, obviously, and all this other stuff. But yeah, so who influences you on all this great music, and talk about the music, the arrangement, the harmonies, because there's such a rich texture in this music. The harmonies are just vibrant and alive.
Right. So I wind up. It's 1978, and I wound up getting a job at Lifesong Records, and Lifesong Records is owned by Cashman and West, Terry Cashman and Tommy West, and those are the guys that did all Jim Croce's music, all the Partridge Family.
I love the Partridge Family.
These guys are so harmony driven that it was a front row seat, and I probably learned more from them than from anybody on watching how to build a song where the first first verse is nothing, second one you build a little more harmonies, and then by the end it's like this big screaming thing. Ron Dante was somebody that was always hanging around the office, who went on, of course, to become Archie with the Archies, and then he became Barry Manilow's producer, where he just, everything that Barry did, Ron was a producer. And I just got to hang around these guys every day, and just you learn. You watch and you see how it's really done, and you go, I want to do that. And now that I'm older, it's like I realize they taught me everything.
Well, what's cool about when you listen to the CD, you really see craftsmanship in the music. It's not just, okay, we're covering this particular song. Right. There's actually real enriched craftsmanship It's not just like me and my brother just picking up a bunch of things and going, oh, let's see how much we can replicate a sound. There's actually...
It's got to be better. I mean, I brought, we're working on a new CD now, and I really am...
Oh, shameless plug time. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
No, I'm not going to play it.
No, you should. This is what, Rick Frischman would be mad at me if you didn't. I come from people who know this radio show is based upon publicity.
but it's just, it's all about... If it's not good, I don't like it. We recorded 20 things for the new CD, and I'm still one of those guys, unless I get goosebumps and hear it. If I don't hear it, we're not going to do it. And the letters that I'm getting, how come there's no new CD? And it's just, I hate everything. I really never really go, wow, that was really good, or I want to do that. And it's all as a result of that. If it can't be better than the original, if we're just going to go in and make a cover copy of somebody's record, what's the point? It's got to be better. It's got to be, Frankie didn't have that technology back then to put 40 voices on and to do strings and just really like build it in such a way that it's grotesque, where it's 50 people doing a 5-man song.
But like, you don't even notice, like, when you sing the song, when you do like Sherry Baby, it's like Sherry, like you really put the enunciation into it and you really pitch it out. I mean, it's really...
Only because I can't hit those notes.
Nah, it's awesome. All right. Since you're all called the Bronx Wanderers, and this is Rich Solomon, 88.1 FM, WCWP, from my favorite studio, Studio 2, and of course talking about my favorite topic, rock and roll. Let me tell you something. They say that rock is dead. I'm telling you, rock and roll is still alive.
Yeah.
It's just not played as much in the right places. So we got to play this song. So this is The Wanderer. For a lot of reasons, we have to play this.
They don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I get around and round and round and round and whoa, well, that's floor on my left, and there's Mary on my right, and Janie is a girl, well, that I'll be with tonight. And when she asks me which one I know the best, I tear open my shirt, show Rosie on my chest. I'm the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I get around and round and round and round and oh, well, I roam from town to town. I go through life without a care, and I'm as happy as a clown with my 2 fists of iron, and I'm going nowhere. Well, I'm the type of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself falling for some girl, yeah, I hop right into that car of mine, driving around the world 'cause I'm the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I get around and round and round and round and one time. Oh, well, I'm the type of guy who would never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss them and I love them because the meat are all the same. I hug them and I squeeze them. They don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I get around and round and round and round and oh, well, I roam from town to town. I go through life without a care, and I'm as happy as a clown with my 2 fists of iron, and I'm going nowhere. Well, I'm the type of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself
Wow, that was cool. WCWP. That's a great sound. I mean, it's just a great sound, and again, I hear a lot more than just a couple of guys just hacking it out in there.
Yeah.
So obviously you love that song.
That's like the theme song of the neighborhood. The whole attitude thing, walking down the street where you're jacking on, trying to impress the girls. Yeah, I'm in a band. I mean, that was it. That was it.
But the secret is it works. see, it's like the guys in the military uniforms and people in bands. It works.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the reason why they do it. It works.
No, my wife is definitely out of my league. How I got there, I don't know. I must have been a musician.
Good looks and charm.
Whatever.
Come on, good looks and charm and talent. So wait, because Rick Frischman would be yelling at me if I didn't actually talk a little bit about the new record.
It's
coming. Let's hear a little bit about it. Where would people first find out about it?
It should be. I'm hoping July 1st. Not to bring the whole show totally down, but we had this whole thing laid out where we were touring January through April, the first week of April, and we got back the first week of April. We had a month slated out to just finish it, get it together, and get it out. My dad had a stroke. Everything just went on hold, and it became the whole family thing. But we're going to call the album But Not Afraid to Dream, which was a song that was written by a life song guy that I used to work with called Ray DeRouge. And Ray was just one of those guys that wrote for Engelbert Humperdinck. He wrote for Jeffrey Osborne. He did the whole gamut. And
he wrote for Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah. Everyone. And he was just such a good guy. He's like, I got the perfect song for you that basically says, you're not a has-been, but you never was, too. So this is like for those guys right in the middle, and we wound up, we did that. And I'm starting to stretch the kids more because I'm old. I want to retire. So I'm featuring the kids a lot more. I'm really showcasing them a lot more, and it's been a lot of fun.
I got to play this particular song only because it's a great song. I mean, it was in Shrek of all things, although I know that Neil Diamond wrote it.
Yeah.
And the Monkees kind of made it more famous, and then I guess what was it, Smash Mouth?
Right, yeah.
Kind of put it together.
This is little Vinny, is my son, and we needed something for him to do. So he says, I wanted to do this song, and he does about 4 or 5 things on the new one, but on this one, this is his tune.
All right, so here we go.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales, meant for someone else, but not for me. Love was out to get me, that's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. I'm not a trace, doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I thought love was more or less a given thing. Seems the more I gave, the less I got. What's the use of trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. I'm not a trace, doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Out to get me, that's the way it seemed. A disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer. I'm not a trace, doubt in my mind. I'm in love, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
Saw my grades, and now I'm in Cleveland. The original, that's right, folks. You heard it here first. I saw my grades, and now I'm in Cleveland. there was a little known thing. Neil Diamond told me that one night. It was just in a bar, just me and him.
In Cleveland.
No, we were in Hoboken. So he told me that the people at the record company, the Brill building, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah,
Yes.
said, now you got to change it up. Now, the thing is, the people out there who may be listening, for those who are just a little younger than maybe us, that didn't happen. Now, the only thing I know about Diamonds is that, they used to be on the turntable.
Yes, yeah.
And it's much different means of delivering music than iPods and things like that. Although I was a very big fan of The Simpsons, still am. And I love when Lisa Simpson wanted a MyPod because they couldn't say iPod, and she was obsessed with it. So
we were on The Simpsons, not the Bronx Wanderers, but the Terry Cashman thing. We did a song in 1981 called "Talkin' Baseball," Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. And that is being...
I know that song.
That is I'm one of the background singers on that.
That's a great song.
That's being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Cooperstown, New York.
Cooperstown, July 24th. And The Simpsons did a whole episode with Homer singing Talking Baseball. And it was great.
Oh! So what other little great tidbits of music and music history and Hall of Fame stuff have you been holding back on me?
Not too much. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, but it's, just the whole experience of meeting everybody, being around everybody. It's one of those things where people say, you're very lucky that you get to work doing something you love, and I am. I mean, my whole life has been, it could really end tomorrow, and I had a great, great life.
Well, God forbid.
No, God forbid.
So you have a DVD, right?
We have a DVD out, we have a DVD out with Danny Aiello, which he was just one of those guys that he came. I mean, there was no sweeter individual than Danny Aiello. With a star of his magnitude, 90 movies. He called me up.
He made 90 movies.
90 movies, and he said, and I said to him at one point,
"That's a lot."
Wow. I mean, and you just think about it, that he just, every time you turn around, he's let these little pop-up roles in movies, and I go, 90 movies. I had called him up. I was in a movie called The Dukes with Chaz Palminteri, Robert Davi, Peter Bogdanovich. It came out on a Friday. It went to video on Saturday, and it was out of print on Sunday. It was one of those movies. It was a rock and roll heist movie from a few years ago. And the distributor of that movie was very close to Danny Aiello. And I said, I'm doing this thing, and I would love to get Danny Aiello to do like a voiceover. Can you get me in touch with him? Because I know you have his number. Just tell him it was the kid from Hoboken and the kid from the neighborhood. So he called him up. He calls me back, and he said, what are you talking about? Call me. This is my number. And I'm going, Mr. Aiello. He's like, Danny. So he winds up. He goes, what do you need? I go, can you just read like a couple of lines and talk about the Bronx? And he said, yeah. And I said, maybe like the last line would be, go see the Bronx Wanderers. He said, what are you doing? I said, we're doing a video. And he goes, who's paying for this video? Is there some company paying for it, or you're paying for it? I go, we're paying for it. He goes, all right, I tell you what. He goes, I'm going to do this for nothing. And I go, wow, that's great. He goes, but can I make a suggestion? I go, what's that? He goes, why don't you put me in the video? That would probably be better for you. I go, what? I said, we could never afford. He goes, no money. He goes, I want to do this for you, whatever it is. And we met him in Hoboken, spent the day with him, and he shot the video with us. And I mean, he just... everywhere he goes, that he just goes out to get us work. We're working with him in New York at a place called the Iridium, where we do a bunch of dates with him. That's the Les Paul place. And he's just the sweetest guy. And we're talking about going on tour with him, and we're hoping we could work that out. We're going to do some dates with him in 2012 in Florida in January.
Wow.
But what a guy. I mean, he's just the nicest guy on the planet. He really is just, anything I could do to help you, he really is all about that.
See, that's the side of Hollywood and movies that you never see.
No.
You never see that. It's never talked about.
No.
But there's a lot of people out there who are silent heroes.
Yeah, he is.
And they deserve a tribute.
The distributor said to me, let me explain something to you about the business. He goes, you're never going to get a big star that wants to reach down and pull you up. He goes, if you're on their level, they're your best friends. He goes, so you're going to have to go out and do it on your own. And hopefully when you're on their level, they'll help you out. But Danny is one of those guys that really reached down and said, come on, I'm taking you with me. How come you're not playing Atlantic City? I said, I don't know. He goes, and right there on the spot, he'll call his agent and go, get my kids in there right now or else I'm and he does that. He's just great.
Wow. So where do you like playing? And for what kinds of audiences? Do you like the small places? Do you like the big ones?
The only reason why I love the bigger jobs is because the bigger jobs, there's usually so many lights in your face, you can't see anything. Whereas,
is that why Southside Johnny wears sunglasses?
Yeah. Whereas those intimate jobs where you're like right on the table, like the Copa, and you're watching people pick their nose and put their finger in the area, it's like, wow, this is pretty scary. So big is good.
What did you love most about the music of this era? Was it the lyrics? Was it the sound? Was it just it was new?
The harmonies. It just. I mean, I love the vocal thing, and getting to do the vocal thing is just great. And this thing started, when we go back to the beginning of our conversation, as an accident where we were playing one night early on, and some older guy came up to me. I want to say he was in his 70s, and he was shaking. And he comes over and he grabs my arm and he says, you know what? He goes, I just want you to know. And he went through about 10 ailments that he has, that what's wrong with him. He said, but for 2 hours tonight, I forgot all about that, and I thought I was back at my high school dance. And I just kind of thought, well, that's like a real fluke. And that was really neat. Thank you so much. And the next thing you know, it happens all the time. And it became this whole thing where I tell the kids, why compete on, the pop level with millions of bands? We go out, do our own thing across the country, and there's that whole niche audience of people from 60 to 80 or 50 to 80, 85 that they have nowhere to go. There's a million clubs for young people to go to, but older people don't have that. So we go out, do these things, play retirement communities. We're doing performing arts centers and casinos pretty much across the country. And the people we meet is like, it's therapeutic. Like, I just goosebumps. I can't tell you how great what you made me feel like tonight. I was 17 again. We finished last night. The show ended. It was a 90-minute show. We played from 8 to 9:30. We were an hour from home. It was 10:30. I got home about 2 o'clock. And that's just standing in the lobby talking to hundreds of people on what last night meant to them. And that you really walk away going, wow, we're doing something that's really special.
See, that's the intangible reward.
Yeah.
No one comes to WCWP and goes, wow, you changed my life. So, anyway, although I'll have to see what I can do to get some groupies going. Maybe get my mother and father to listen. All right, you are listening to Richard Solomon. We're almost over a 1-hour show of tremendous music, memories, and the like. We'll be right back. We have to take a mandatory hard break. This is WCWP 88.1 FM, the Abrams Communication Center, rocking from Studio 2. We'll be right back.
Hot with all the guys, I got the moral of a story from a guy got the nose. I fell in love and my love still grows. I stand a fool that she ever knew. I get away from a run around studio. Hey, ho, 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 ho. She likes to travel around, yeah. Love you when she puts you down. Now people love it, put you on, as I said, she goes. Hot with other guys, I got the moral of a story from a guy got the nose. I fell in love and my love still grows. I stand a fool like she ever knew. I get away from a run around to see, yeah. Get away from that girl. I don't know what to do. Keep away from Sue. She likes to travel around, yeah. Love you when she puts you down. The people love it, put you on, as I said, and she goes. Hot with other guys, I got the moral of a story from a guy got the nose. I fell in love and my love still grows. I stand a fool like she ever knew. I get away from a run around, so I say, yeah. Stay away from that girl.
Run Around Sue. There's a song for you. All right, we're back from that break. Richard Solomon, WCWP 88.1 FM. The show is Taking Care of Business. I'll run that in the background. So did you just fall off the turnip? Did you just fall off the
pretty
turnip
much.
truck and just start doing this? just parachute out of the sky and become like a rock dude. By the way, I gave you a little rock and roll
I love
star
that.
thing. There you go.
I love
so
that.
That by the way was a little gift from me.
That is so cool.
In case you wasn't sure, it says rock star and fall it up.
Yeah, I'm going to go home with that.
You say, look, I've been acknowledged.
Yes. And then my wife said, "Hey, Rockstar, put the garbage out."
That's right. That's right. It's like, hey, I just won that great appeal. I know, but we need milk and bread and eggs while we're out there, right? I'm sure. Even the mayor of New York, it's like, hey, the garbage needs to be cleaned.
That's right. The reality check.
So we only have a minute left or two.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for having me on it, and Joanne who made this all possible. I mean, it's just such a great thing.
Oh yeah. So wait. So in the minute, so you didn't fall off the turnip truck?
No. I mean, basically, I started with Life Song Records in 1978, and my plan was I was going to make it from the inside out, and all my bosses loved me, and they said to me, "Why do you want to become a star? That is the worst thing in the world. You'll get a divorce. You'll wind up on drugs. Be an executive." And I fought my whole existence there for them to look at me as an artist, and they never did. And the next thing you know, I became the general manager of the label. 25 years went by, 30 years go by. I'm on 100 records singing backup, but it was never about me. And 10 years ago when they decided to retire, it's like, now what? This accident happened, and I'm finally doing what I always wanted to do.
I think that's us. So the moral of the story is, Jim Morrison, you should have been an executive. You'd be here today complaining. That's right. So hey. So anyway, a million thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I got to play a little music on the way out here. So let's see whatever. This is track. Oh, this is 13. This is America. This is cool. All right, so we're going to play this out as our lead-out music. So thank you so much. You got to catch the Bronx Wanderers. You got to catch them. TheBronxWanderers.com.
There you go.
The CD is the Bronx Wanderers Family Affair. They look very buff and very tough. And yes, they're from Hoboken. Ooh, I'm dying. And they have a DVD out. They have they are going to have a new CD coming out. And catch them on tours. Does your website have the tour information?
Yeah, we'll be everywhere this summer.
All right, that's great. This is 2011, but in years to come and things like that, there'll be great stuff.
We're going to Cleveland in 2 weeks.
That's right. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to sing the song. Bring it back. I saw my grades, and now I'm in Cleveland. No, that's what they tell you at the bar exam.
That's great.
All right, we gotta go. I'll tell you, it's so much fun. It should be illegal. Richard Solomon, thanks for listening. Catch you next week. Love to hear from you. By the way, I never said this. If you need to send us an email, TCBRadioWCWP @yahoo.com. Otherwise, see you in 30 days. In 7 days.
Today.